it's not your goal or anything, but we were speaking just before. I don't know if you backed it up, but the achieving of the net zero for British agriculture, to me, seems far-fetched, given that that's what now 19 years away, and I don't know what all the figures are, because I think it was on the report as well, wasn't it? They 15% of UK emissions is agriculture, is it?
I think it's about 10% of UK emissions, total UK emissions, are agriculture. I think the global stats are around 15%.
Sure.
Various estimations, but it's around 14.5, 15.5 I've seen just from animal farming. That is globally. But in the UK, the total, because our emissions are quite high from our overall economy, our agriculture sector is about around 10% of the total. I think I agree that these targets are ambitious. However, there's the thing about the land management sector and the farming sector is it owns our only tool and our only our most effective tool at combating climate change, and that's our biggest store of carbon. Vegetation and soils are our biggest store of carbon. So it might seem ambitious, but actually with an ambitious set of incentives, you could very quickly see that the farming net zero. And in fact, for the entire economy to go net zero, because net implies a balance, doesn't it, of negative emissions and emissions. The fact that some of our emissions are going to be hard to get rid of entirely mean that they're going to have to be offset somewhere. So actually, not only has the land management sector and agricultural sector got to achieve net zero itself, it's also going to do a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of responding to our net zero target across the rest of the economy, because that's our only tool. So we need not only do we need an ambitious net zero target in farming and land management, but people in farming and land management need to understand that that has to be part of our overall net zero strategy for the country.
Sure.
We can't just assume that all of the and this is one of the issues with the NFU's proposed plan. While we should definitely welcome the NFU's target and their kind of openness to discuss, the one thing that they've done is essentially said we're going to continue emitting. We're going to continue with the amount of animals we've got in the system and the other forms of sources of emissions, but we're going to offset those with hedge planting on farm, better soil management, and also bioenergies. So growing biofuels to offset the energy emissions. Now, this is not, I don't think, the way to go, because, as I said, the land management sector and our landscape in the UK needs to offset emissions from other parts of the economy. So the land management sector can't just continue to emit the levels it's doing and then just use offsetting to kind of balance that out.
Sure.
Else the way we'll meet our net zero target across the entire economy. So I think it is ambitious in a way. It's also, it would, in another way, taken on its own, it would be very easy to meet. It would just mean accepting that large areas of land need to be reused, essentially, and that needs to involve habitat restoration.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think the NFU are quite happy to come on and talk about that at some point. So, I'll leave that to them. But I mean, I picked up on it because I think it said that maybe that you welcomed it or something along those lines. It was in there, and that was one of the things that I always confused about, because, yeah, it just seems so ambitious. It seems, I mean, for me, as I say, I don't know anything about it, but on the face of it, it just seems so rash. Because even if you were to say, set aside a lot of these areas, that's a lot of people which are going to be out of business unless a new system is replaced with it.
I think if you can, it's all of these climate plans are ambitious because we've left it so long to respond to climate change. But if you look at the actual, yes, it would have an impact on the people that are using that land at the moment. It have an impact on employment. It would have an impact on all sorts of things. Potentially positive impact if planned and delivered in the right way. But if you understand what the impacts of climate change itself will be, even in the UK, just in terms of the extreme weather events that we're having, droughts, extreme wind events, and periods of prolonged rainfall, the damage of not acting is vastly outweighs the any damage associated with acting quickly.
I'd like to see what they say about that, actually, because I mean that's one of my main things. Is I agree with you there that at some point you have to, in my non-specialist opinion, you have to say, well, either you protect the employment of the people who work on that land, or you accept that there's going to be collateral. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of for me. I mean, I can't see how this is going to be achieved without putting a lot of people out of business, which is why I'm surprised that was an ambition, because it seems so rash. But I mean, as I say, you need it, but I don't know.
Like you say, and I would certainly favour, of those two options, we would certainly favour putting support in place and having a proper plan in place to so that these people who are affected have different alternative economic options. But yeah, just to stress the fact that there is, if you think it's ambitious and it's, in general, the target, the idea of doing it without vastly reducing the amount of animals that we've got in the system, which are the main source of emissions from UK agriculture. So direct emissions account for nearly 50% of all agricultural emissions. That's before you even look at management of soils and manures and the nitrous oxide that's put on pasture land. Without addressing that and actually reducing the overall number of animals significantly, we haven't got a chance. So yeah, there's a number of areas that need to be acted on now in order to meet those targets, and a big part of it is going to be financial support from government for new economic options.
Sure, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's one of the things. I mean, I hope, say they'll come on before long and talk through that, I think. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of changes that are going on around here, and I don't know. I mean, I don't even know if I'll recognize the place. If that's the case, we will be driving hydrogen tractors and I don't know what else, direct drilling and such. But in 19 years, I mean, that's only, that's not even yesterday. Considering what 20 years ago, I can't even remember. But it wasn't much different to now. We were going to be flipped upside down by then.
Yeah, it's going to be big changes.